In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the high pressure fuel pump on your Acura MDX, located under the hood, under the intake manifold. Let's get started. To start with, we're going to remove the engine cover. Just pop it off. Start by taking off the clips on the side. There's two on the side and one in the back. Disconnect your MAF sensor and move the connector to the side. Disconnect your MAF sensor. Slide the connector out of place. Move the clip out of the way. Using a pair of needle nose pliers and a little pry bar, we're going to be taking out this pipe right here. Putting pressure on the clamp. Get your pry bar right on this position. And slide out. You can leave the clamp right there. Next, we're going to use a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 5.5mm socket to remove this bolt. You don't have to take it completely out, just loosen it up. And slide it out. We're going to move the throttle body out of the way, removing the two 12mm bolts that are located on the bottom of the throttle body and the two 12mm nuts located on the top of it. Break them loose. And take them off. Wiggle the throttle body and slide it out. For this installation, it's okay to just move it out of the way. Using a pair of needle nose, we're going to be taking this hose off. Move the clamp out of the way. Use a small pry bar and pull it out. Move this hose out of the way. Now we're going to be removing the purge valve. We're going to start by pressing on the tab and removing the connector. Move it out of the way. Using a ratchet and an 8mm socket, now we're going to remove the purge valve. Get your bolts loose. Do the same on the bottom. Take the bolt out, do the same on the top. Slide your purge valve out by wiggling it to the side and pulling back. You can move this out of the way. Using a pair of needle nose pliers, we're going to remove this hose by moving the clamp out of the way. grab a pry bar and pry on the hose. Slide it out. You can just move it out of the way. Next, we're gonna remove this cover. There's gonna be all 10mm bolts. Slide the cover out of the way. Next, we're gonna remove this cover. And to do that, we're gonna pry on 4 tabs. There's 2 located in the front and 2 located in the back. Slide your cover out. Next up, we're gonna remove these 8 12mm bolts. Take them all out. Now you're gonna tap with a mallet and you're gonna tap around the intake manifold just to break it loose. Next up, you wanna just pull it straight up and get it out of the way. And I would like to add, inspect your gasket. If you think it needs to be replaced or if you see a problem with it, make sure you do so. Next, we're gonna remove the lower part of the intake manifold by taking off these 9 12mm bolts. We're gonna do the same thing we did on the upper part of the manifold. We're gonna tap around it to get it off. Once it's loose, just pull it straight out. And get it out of the way. Next, we're gonna remove this cover right here, and all we need to do is just pull it out. Get it out of the way. We're gonna remove this, and to do so, there's a 10mm right here. Let's get it out. Once you get this out, pull it straight up. To remove the high pressure pump, we're gonna start by loosening up this 19mm right here, which is part of the line. And before we do that, I wanna put a rag underneath. Depending on how long the vehicle's been sitting, it may still have fuel pressure. With a 19mm wrench, crack it loose. Next, we're gonna remove this connector. And to do so, we're gonna squeeze on the top and bottom of the connector and pull it out. You can put it out of the way. Next, we're gonna remove this white clip right here, located on the side of the fuel pump. And to do that, I have 2 small screwdrivers, and we're gonna pry on it evenly on both sides. lift up, and slide it out. And now we can remove the pressure line. To do so, we're gonna squeeze on the green clip and pull right out, just like so. Move it out of the way. With this line loose, back it up all the way. Now we're ready to remove the pump using a 6mm hex head. There's gonna be 2 bolts, one on the bottom and one on the top. To remove this pump, it's very important that we remove the bolts evenly to avoid cracking. Loose the bottom bolt. And loose the top. Like I mentioned before, make sure you take them out evenly. Remove the bottom bolt. Remove the top bolt. And pull the pump out. And here it is. It's always good to inspect the roller that's located behind the pump. You can grab yourself a small magnet and pull it right out. Inspect the roller and make sure there's no damage. This one looks great. Now we're gonna line up the notch with the engine and make sure it goes in smooth. If you feel any resistance, stop and try again. It should slide in. And before we install the new pump, we wanna make sure the surfaces are clean. I'm gonna wipe it off. Make sure you don't have any debris around this area. Now we're ready to install the high pressure pump. And for that, we want to make sure that we lube up this O-ring right here so we don't damage it during install. Get some silicone, dab it a little bit, and go around. This will prevent any tears and or damage. Now we can go and install our pump. Remembering the way that it came out, we're gonna go right back the same way. Slide it in and push down. Now we can install our bolts and make sure you start them by hand. I like to grab the socket and start them by hand. Now we want to make sure we drive the bolts evenly to make sure it goes in smooth. Make sure you go slow. Now we want to make sure we torque down the 2 bolts at 18 foot-pounds. Now you can go ahead and install the line. Make sure you start it by hand. Get it all the way. And now we can torque the line to 27 foot-pounds. And now we can plug in the fuel line that goes over here. Make sure the clip lines up. Push it in until you hear the click. And don't forget to reinstall the holder. Clip it into place. And make sure you hear a click. Now we can remove our rag. And lastly, plug in the fuel pump. Make sure you hear a click. Now we can install the fuel rail cover. Make sure you click it into place. And also the high pressure pump cover. And for that, we're gonna slide it into place. Don't forget to install the 10mm bolt that goes right here. Start it by hand. Get it snug. And torque it to 9 foot-pounds. Now we can install the lower portion of the manifold. And I would like to point out, this is the time to inspect your gaskets. If they look broken or deformed, this is the time to replace them. In this case, this gasket looks fine, so we're gonna reuse them. Slide that in and make sure it's even. Start your nuts and bolts by hand. And now just get everything snug. I like to start in the corners to make sure it's even. Now we can torque them down to 16 foot-pounds. And now we're ready to install the upper section of the manifold. Make sure you lined up the holes. And slide it in. Start the bolts by hand. In this case, because it's hard to reach, I like to use extension with a 12mm and just get them on by hand. Now we can snug them, and I like to start in the corners to even out the pressure. Now we can torque our bolts to 16 foot-pounds. Now we're ready for the cover. Start the bolts by hand. We can now snug them. Now we can torque them to 9 foot-pounds. Now we can install this cover that goes on the right side of the engine. Make sure you lined up the clips and slide it in. Make sure you hear the click. Now we can install these holes over here. Slide it into place. If you're having a hard time sliding the hose into place, you can use some silicone. I like to put the clip right back in the original position. We can now install this hose that we moved to the side earlier. Put the clip back into place. Now we can install the purge valve. Slide it into place. You have the two 8mm bolts. Start them by hand. There's one on the top and there's one on the bottom. Now that you have them in place, let's knock them in. If you can get a torque wrench in this location, the torque key is 2.6 foot-pounds, but in our case, we're just gonna hand tight it. Now we can plug it in. Make sure you hear a click. Now we can reinstall a throttle body, line up the holes, and slide it in. You're gonna have two nuts and two bolts, starting by hand. The two bolts go underneath, and the two nuts go on the top. Let's snug them in. Now we can torque our bolts to 16 foot-pounds. Now we can install the cover for the engine filter. Slide it into place. Slide the cover on. And don't forget to clip it in place. There's 3 clips. 2 on this side and 1 in the back. Now we can plug in the map sensor. Clip the wire here and connect it. Now we're gonna hand tight the intake tube. Using a pair of pliers, we're gonna squeeze the clamp and slide the pipe in. And let's not forget to connect the map sensor and clip it into place. And now we're ready to install the engine cover. For this, you're gonna line up the cover and push down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.